Hello. I'm out here walking around again. Too nice to be doing a video from the studio. Besides, I've been spending a lot of time in it doing the next music video. A lot of editing and stuff, but Portland Springs are incredibly explosive. Really exciting. And, well, let's talk about something exciting then. So, alright, everybody's done a video on them. Angine De Poitrine, I think. Anyways, my French-Canadian, or Canadian-French, is non-existent. Which is fine. As somebody who has a last name that nobody can pronounce, it's Jan, by the way, sometimes that confusion can work to your advantage. Anyways, everybody's discussed it. I've known about them for a long time, probably well over a year. But it's exciting that musicians who are doing microtonal music are getting so much exposure. I mean, friends and family constantly sending me messages about this. I'm like, yeah, cool, microtonal music. I've been doing it forever. Microtonal is nothing new. I guess you can start with just tuning your instrument to A440. They didn't always used to do that. 432 was something that people did a lot of. I actually often tune somewhere between the two. That's microtonal. It's measured in cents. People will say like semitones and quarter tones and eighth tones and stuff like that. Depends on how you want to look at it. I do it in cents, or just resonant frequencies. Where's your A? Well, it's 440 or 432 or wherever you want it to be. What's interesting about them is they're actually using fretted instruments that have microtonally set frets. So they kind of can only place a fretted instrument. I started on fretless instruments like the violin, viola, and I play lots of other things. My brothers played trombone. I guess I played trombone too. Basically, the brass fretless instrument. But you can subdivide it any number of ways. And what a fretboard is, when you have frets, they have to be the subdivisions. And what they've got some different microtonal subdivisions on their instruments. Exciting, they use loops and stuff like that. What I want to discuss is actually something that I don't think anybody else can do quite as well as I can, which is because I have a lot of contemporary art knowledge. What's exciting about them tuning and basically using different notes is it gives them an identity. But they're also either they went to art school or they know people who went to art school. But they're drawing on people like Yayoi Kusama, a famous artist who uses polka dots on everything and kind of uses it to create an interference field. So it makes you more aware of your surroundings and everything else and kind of makes everything blend. So it makes you more hyper-aware in general as opposed to just focusing on one thing. This works for the musicians and for their persona that they're presenting. Good. Exciting. Also have, people like Oscar Schlemmer, one of the Bauhaus people, when he was teaching at the Bauhaus, I believe the one in Dessau, Germany, they were doing lots of plays and set pieces, and these well-known painters and visual artists would take things, create set designs and costumes. And so you can see a little bit of that. There's a certain handmade quality to the papier-mâché thing. An artist like Nick Cave out of Chicago, an excellent artist who I've met, creates these sound suits. And so it's going to be interesting to see what Angine De Poitrine actually come up with as kind of their how do they evolve this and not get trapped by what's initially attention getting? You get diminishing returns on everything. And what I like about their music, and people make a lot of the individual character of the microtonal music, and I do microtonal music as well. I use a normal fretted instrument, but what I do is through my bends and pressure that I put on my jumbo frets, I can pull it slightly sharp, or on the using the whammy bar, I can actually pull it out of tune, or down a semitone or a few cents or whatnot. And also but oftentimes I'll just use hand pressure on the tremolo bar to pull it a little sharp in certain moments. But, it's sort of like this. Microtones are not all that unusual. You've been hearing them all along. Blues guitars. If you don't perfectly bend up to the perfect next note when you're doing a bend, you're doing something microtonal and you hear this weird dissonance and it really catches your ear. Well, that's part of the microtonal thing. So it's not all that new. A lot of things with recording on tape, particularly you think of like the Beatles and Strawberry Fields, they had to go and fit together different things that weren't recorded together or even in the same keys, and they had to speed things up and slow things down to make it work. So microtonal things are all around us. Bird calls, the sound of your washing machine going. I use microtones. Sometimes you can do it just through effects. You can have there's ring modulators and other things that sound atonal, but they're more than that. They're sort of enharmonic. They add extra harmonics to things that literally change the note and make them less distinct because you're adding in microtonal information. And microtonal is almost a misnomer in and of itself. It's just a way for musicians to try and communicate with each other. And the difference with microtonal things is like everybody has their own standards and setups. Just like the 12-tone scale is a standard and setup in tuning to A440 or A432. Standardization. What this band is doing is they're creating their own standardization. You have people like Bowie who also had personas and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see where they go with this. They're coming to Portland. I'm excited about it. Hey, if you want me to open up for you, you know where to reach me. And what I like about them is they have a really strong groove. They're really tight. They really lock in with one another. It's that Motown thing, which you're not thinking of when you see them. You don't think, oh, they've got that Motown thing, but they do. They've got that locked in rhythm section, or even like the Swampers, who were a legendary group of studio musicians, that sort of thing, where it's a handmade world. It's definitely not AI. That's exciting to people. Curious what their album's going to be like when it comes out. Why is it hitting so well? I think music is about expectations and anticipations and fulfillment and also surprise. And by using loops the way they do with the amount of groove that they have, I think they have set up a good, strong sense of anticipation. My anticipation is, where do they go with this? It's sort of like David Bowie had to kill off Ziggy Stardust. What do they do with this? They've got their kind of sausage appendages, and they're borrowing a little bit from Kurt Schwitters and his Merzbow thing, and this is another artist you can talk about in relationship to them. Or you could, and also Paul Klee, famous Bauhaus artist, liked to do papier-mâché puppets with his son Felix. All these things are out there. It also reminds me a little bit of like this performance art troupe, the Momentchans of the 70s. It was kind of a whole thing. Anyways, there's something about a mask, removing identity that makes you pay attention to the overall field. Sort of like the Blue Man Group or all these other things. It's easy to ignore a human face once you can identify it. But if you can't fully identify it, you keep paying attention. So, there you go. And I've thought about doing costumes because, all sorts of other different bands have used them, like Kiss and other things, and Mama Sean's have done it over the years. I'm like, do I really have to do anything to stick out? No. I look like a Yeti as it is. or people run down the street calling me Thor. Jeez. But it's all about, I think that it's really well tailored to YouTube. The question is, where does it go from there? I do think it's a reassertion of the human creative act, because you see on the videos that have gone viral, they're clearly performing it right then and there. That's important. I thought that was important with my own music, that you're hearing first takes on everything. Anyways, I'm working on some stuff. I'm doing a scholar conference at the end of next month on curation, and there'll be another music video heading your way really soon. It's almost done. It's got kind of a Robert Rauschenberg feel to it, so knowing your vocabulary, nobody really totally invents something out of the blue themselves, but it's how they deploy it that becomes new and unique. And Angine De Poitrine, they figured out how to get people's attention with microtonal music, but also costuming. It's their performance that sells it. Really tighten in the pocket. And it's not dull. There's something weird about music where people want more of the same, except they don't. You just need to get them out of their expectation loop long enough for them to pay attention to something new. This is partially what they've gone and done. There's a lot more out there if you're looking for it. Anyways, ciao. Enjoy the spring.